this next video, I've got a set of mini brakes, mini disc brakes, front disc brakes that I want to get fixed up, and hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully there'll be something interesting. So there they are in all their glory. They've been probably floating around for about 15 years in this position. I did get a whole bunch of parts a long time ago, and they were just put away, and they weren't put away very well, obviously. And you can see the brakes, the discs are all rusty, and you know, the pots are missing, the CV joints, the balls are missing. So I'm looking at getting this all fixed up, and first thing I'm going to be doing is removing the calipers and getting the discs off, and seeing if some rust remover will get rid of that rust that's on there. I do understand I've got to get them machined, and I can't do that myself, but I don't want to take it to somebody and have them say, oh no, they're too rusty. So I'm going to get them to a point where they're a little bit better looking, a little bit more presentable, get them machined up, get the calipers working, and then get them stored properly so that I can use them in the future and they'll be okay. Okay, so yeah, these disc brakes are for 12-inch wheels. I've measured the discs, and they're 8 inches. So I guess the first thing we've got to do is get it so that we can get the calipers off. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a spray with this terrible WD-40 and see if they'll be loose enough that we can get the bolts off. Alrighty, they've been soaking for a little while now. Let's get into it. Hopefully we can get these calipers off pretty easily. They're 9/16 bolts. This one's coming off. Pretty tough though. Been sitting a while. I might be giving these bolts a bit of an Evaporust as well. Going to be using Evaporust to get as much of it off as I can. I might use a bit of a wire wheel before the Evaporust. I did read that Evaporust doesn't affect non-rusted areas, so was worried about the bearing faces, but the bearing faces may be okay from the research that I've done. This one's a little tough. Give it a little bit of a tap. Alright, I fought with that a little bit longer than I wanted, but I've got them loose. This is the last one, and definitely we're giving them a little bit of Evaporust as well. That looks like it might have some damaged threads, but it actually doesn't. They're just cleaner than the rest of the bolt. So Evaporust is my latest product that I've been testing out the last couple of weeks. Haven't used it before. It's pretty good. Had some success with some very rusty bits and pieces just sitting in jars, namely these ones here. They've been cleaned with Evaporust, and they're sitting there in fish oil at the moment to keep them nice and protected. But yeah, I do want to get these discs nice and clean and in a usable state, because I do want to stick them on a car eventually. I've got a 67 Mini sitting in the garage. It's not this 67, there's another 67, and it's going to have a 1330 engine, which I'll be featuring in a later video. But there we go, some nice leaves sitting there. But next stage will be to remove those bearings and get the discs off. They're actually not that pitted, it's just surface rust. Definitely a machining will have them nice and clean and ready to go. Alrighty, day 2 or 3 now. These things have been soaking for a little while, and hopefully the main bearing nut is nicely freed up. So we just move the cotter pin, get it out, hopefully. So I'm expecting a bit of a struggle with this today, so you guys can all have a laugh at my struggle, but I am going to film the whole lot in the hopes that it won't be too embarrassing. Not getting to a good start here. I don't actually have any replacement cotter pins, and I do know that I'm going to need to replace them before they go on a car, as you don't want to reuse cotter pins. Not a smart idea, especially on a wheel bearing. They probably could go again, but yeah, something that I'll replace in the future. Make a mental note. Probably need new wheel bearings anyway, so it'll be something that I'll change in the future. Let's see if I can get this guy up. Got to use the right tools for the job. And the right tool's the one you got in your hand. If it works, it's the right tool. Whoops, obviously not the right tool. Haha. Yes. Well, that cotter pin has had it. Alright, let's try this guy first. As I said, I'm expecting a little bit of a struggle, especially when my spanner is too small. Okay. Okay, got myself a bigger spanner. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Nice piece of wood so I don't damage my threads. And give it a little tap. Try and get this freed up. That would be no. Alright, well, after a few smashed knuckles, decided to take a different tack and figured that if I used the wheel to hold the disc, I could get to the hub nut better. If I had kept on going the way I was going, I know I would have ended up rounding out the hub. So this way at least I can get it to hold in some form or other. Oh, look at that. They are not mini hub nuts. That's okay, I've got these guys. Okay, well, after my last little lecture about doing the job right and completely stuffing it up, I went and got the right tool for the job from the shop. So now we have a socket that actually fits, and probably should have done it like this in the first place, but you know, you live and you learn. I think I would have learned by now, but anyway, let's give this another try and hopefully we can get it off. Yes, well, I don't know, the struggle continues. Okay, new day, and I've come out to the backyard. It's a little bit nicer out here. Nice weather. We haven't had any good weather recently. It's either been too windy or too cold. And as you can hear, we've got my young boy running away with my tools, trying to help out. Good boy, Jamie. Well done. Do it again. Great job. So yeah, we're working on the wheel bearing nuts and trying to get them free. As you can see, we were having a lot of trouble earlier, but Jamie's onto it now, so that's really, really good. So, fought with the nut for so long with the breaker bar and couldn't get it off, and then came up with this arrangement. And I know that some of you are gonna love that, but I've got 3 different adapters going into this. So let's see if that'll get the nut off. Oh, we got one. We got one. Perfect. Okay. 1 down, 1 to go. Haha. All right, 2 down. I'm very excited. I was killing myself. But I know that that probably wasn't the right way of doing things, but definitely got it done. Now we're going to disassemble the bearings and take out the discs, and we can move on to the next phase. Okay, that's pretty much as far as I'm going to go with the wire wheel. I've just taken the top bits off, roughened it up a little bit just so that the Evaporust can get in there and attack what it needs to attack. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and then we'll move to sticking them in the tub for the Evaporust. Alright, there we go. Thank you, Jamie, for oiling Daddy. Well, there we go. We've got it all sort of cleaned up. I tell you what, the wire wheel's my best friend when it comes to rust, but not when it chews my hand up, which has happened a couple of times. But there we've got the nice rusty wheels pretty cleaned up, the discs, and I'm going to be putting them in the tub so that they can put the Evaporust on there. Okay, well I've got my tub, and what I'm going to do is put my discs in there and fill it up with Evaporust. Now, not sponsored obviously, but this stuff should get the rust off. I'm going to leave it in there for about a week and then see what it's like, and if it's any better, then wire wheel them up and then send these discs off to my disc man, my brake man, to get them machined. But let's see how we go. Okay, I'm going to do that for both sides, and then we're going to start on the axles. Alright, we're just going to clean up the axles. I'm just going to get all of this off with degreaser, give this a bit of a clean up. Clean this area here, try and get some of that off, and then we're going to give that a bit of a spray of black. And I am going to put the pots back on and the CV over here a little bit later. Alright, well there we have it after a little bit of clean up. Get rid of the surface rust and give it a bit of a paint. Re-grease the bearings and reseal all of the joints. There we have it. You can see this one's got a little bit of scoring there from the bearing, so that one might need a new bearing. But there you go. There they all are, all nicely cleaned up. So we are going to be waiting for the discs to see what happens with the discs, and then once we've got those back from getting machined, then I'll reassemble all of this stuff. If anybody knows out there how to protect these for storage so that they don't get surface rust on them, let me know. I'm probably going to just tape them up and probably just put a piece of tape over the top of the bearings too so that they don't get rusty. But if there's a better method, if somebody knows, well, let me know. That would be really, really good in the comments. Alright, well, I've had the disc brakes sitting, or the discs sitting in the Evaporust now for about a day and a half, and I don't think I need to leave them any longer. I have been periodically coming along and flipping them over because they do need to be fully submerged to get the effect. Obviously the stuff does need to be touching it, the rust, to get it off, but I do already know that it has done a great job because I have already flipped them a couple of times. But as you can see here, this is the area that wasn't really submerged, and that is the disc itself. Very, very rust free, really, really good. If I give it a bit of a wipe, it's got some residue on it from the Evaporust. I did read up, you do need to give them a rinse. You can either rinse them in fresh Evaporust, which I don't have any more of, I used it all up, or you can use water. And something fundamentally to me is wrong about putting water on material I've just gotten all the rust off. But we will clean them up. I'm going to give them a bit of a wire wheel, and we'll see what they look like when they're all cleaned up. So I've done a little bit of wire wheeling. I actually did rinse it off with the water, as the manufacturer suggests. Like I said, you can either use water or you can use new Evaporust, but I used the whole bucket for this, so I don't have any new stuff left. But look, it came out really, really good. It actually came out better than I thought, and I didn't have to leave it in that long. It was only a couple of days. Apparently Evaporust is non-acidic, so it doesn't eat into the metal. It'll only eat into the rust. And as you can see, the surface is pretty good. There's a couple of minor little pits here and there, so it will need to be machined. But other than that, it came out really, really, really good. There's the rear side of it. So yeah, there's the pitting. That's not very deep at all. I mean, that's just a very quick machining that'll get that off. And you can see that the bearing surface, or the non-rusted surface, didn't actually need any rust remover, and it hasn't affected it at all. So I feel quite happy to use this product in the future to get rid of my rusty junk and make it shiny junk. But yeah, I don't know what's in it. Apparently it's water-based, and it's probably got rainbows and pixie dust. But there it is, sitting there soaking. I'm just going to get that last little remnant of surface rust off that one. But yes, rainbows and pixie dust is what makes that stuff work. It does have a bit of a chemical smell. Apparently safe to touch, but they do recommend you wear gloves. I went hardcore and didn't, and splashed it everywhere, so probably should have worn some safety equipment. But yeah, I will show you what they both look like in a minute, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison somewhere. Okay, so another video done, and Jamie worked really hard on getting that those nuts off, helping me out. Okay, so the Evaporust worked really well. Didn't have to leave it in very long. It was only in over 2 days, and it did a great job getting the rust off. It was a little sticky towards the end, getting the residue off, but I found it worked really, really well. Jamie and I are currently sitting in our next project, so this will be the next video coming, which is my 1950 Phase 1 Vanguard. And this is Jamie's car, isn't it, Jamie? Is this your car? Yeah. Jamie likes helping me with this one. He's helping me with the knobs at the moment. So yeah, this will be next week. We're going to intro this car and show you around and show you what's coming. As always, if you enjoyed watching, give me a like, or if you really enjoyed it, if you consider subscribing, that would be really, really good. Stay tuned next week, introduction of our 1950 Vanguard.